We moved around a lot. The next rented apartment was in an old German building. I finally got a big room. I made fast friends with the local guys. And the first thing they did was give me a tour of the local basements. By the way, almost all the basements of the neighborhood houses were open. The residents used them for faster throughput. Everything was going smoothly until my new friends suggested summoning a gnome. It seemed like a silly child's play, but I would swear that when we were in one of the cellars summoning something unknown, I noticed a shadow peeking out from around the corner and disappearing instantly. The strangeness continued at home. I never left the feeling that someone was watching me. Then in a dark corridor I would notice someone's silhouette flashing by the corner of my eye. Then I would wake up in the middle of the night, as if someone pushed me. Then I would hear something inexplicable squeaking, barking and crying at the same time in an empty apartment. When one day, before my eyes, peacefully lying on the table, the book itself moved out of place and fell to the floor, I finally cast aside my skepticism and began to think about what to do now with this attached to me essence. The internet in those days was not as widespread as it is now, and I went to the local library to study everything that was available on mystical and near-mystical topics. From the books and magazines I read from cover to cover, the main thing I learned was that cats see and feel much more, especially ginger ones. So concluded my childish brain. It is necessary to get a cat. I found my future protector near the garages. The kitten seemed to be just waiting for me, sat and silently looked directly into my eyes. And when I came to caress, eagerly came towards me, as if we had always known each other. We just hadn't seen each other for a long time. It didn't take long to persuade his parents. They gave in after the first pathetic meow and the penetrating look of his huge eyes. The kitten was named Jack, and practically from the first day he started chasing someone in the dark hallway. The extraneous sounds and shadows stopped bothering me, and I had almost forgotten about my fears, as suddenly the essence, or whatever it was, reminded me of itself again. That evening my parents had gone to a corporate party, and they promised to return late at night. I, having turned on the lights in all the rooms, was playing on the computer. Next to me, sprawled out in a chair, Jack was dozing. I didn't immediately realize what the clicking sound was coming from my parents' room. It wasn't until I turned my head at the sound that I realized the switch had tripped, or rather, someone had pressed it. The light went out, another click, and it was dark in the kitchen. The next moment, Jack was out of his seat and rushing into the darkness with a terrified growl. He ran all over the apartment, meowing, hissing, and panting belligerently. Something crackled and tinkled. There was the sound of broken porcelain. I'd always considered myself a pretty brave guy, but at that moment I was so scared that I crawled under the table and started wailing in a low voice for this nightmare to end. After a few minutes, Jack calmed down and slowly, with a look of triumph, came back to me. I held him against my chest and sat like that, until my parents returned, afraid to move, much less leave my room. The kitten, of course, got a smack from my mom for making a mess in the apartment, the scratched wallpaper, and the broken statue, but I knew that it was to this little guy that we owed the peace of mind that had reigned in our house forever.